Okay, today I'm going to make a video of how to replace this circular style serpentine belt tensioner on a B48, 46, probably 38s, maybe even B58s. I'm not sure, but any circular style that bolts up to the alternator, I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. First step, just to ensure safety, make sure nothing could go wrong. Basically, I went ahead and unhooked the negative terminal. It is a 10 millimeter bolt. And yeah, that 10 millimeter right there, just loosen it up, pull the cable off, stick a towel in there. Maybe a little bit unnecessary, but just to make sure no accidents happen. I'm gonna show everybody, since I couldn't find a good video at all. Actually, I couldn't find any videos. I'm gonna show everybody how I figured it out quite simply and quickly. Now it is hard to reach and you're gonna need a little bit of tools, not too much. I went ahead and used a breaker bar, not required, but makes it easier to pop the bolts loose. These three right here, 13 millimeters. There's two of them and the other one is still in there. I'm gonna show you how to get to that. It's actually here. It's actually right there. So it's in a hard to reach place. These other two bolts are gonna be for your alternator. You're gonna have to pop those loose. That's why I popped the battery off. But this is the top alternator one, which is going to rest right there. You can see that. And then this longer one is gonna be on the bottom. And it is right back there. You can see that open hole. So I already popped it loose. I just want to make a quick video. First steps first. I used a setup like this. A shorter extension on a medium extension. And alongside this 16 millimeter socket, put it on here. And I found a Allen key that would slide into this hole. So I put my breaker bar with the medium and a short extension, and I reached in there, and on that bolt right there, okay, somebody was bothering, but basically you take that bolt, you break tension on the actual belt. So I think you would rotate this way, so you would push the ratchet this way, I believe, and then that opens. Normally, whenever it has tension on it, it's over here. That opens it up, and you can push a pin, a metal pin, or an Allen key in that hole. I found an Allen key that was slightly smaller than that pin, and then pushed it in there after I broke tension. So while I'm holding the tension off the tensioner, I slid the pin in there and peeled back the belt. Okay. And then the two long bolts right here that I had mentioned are going to be E12. Here, I'll just double show you. But you're gonna need an E12 socket. Has these teeth in it. You break those with that using the same setup, a medium and a small extension. And once I had them all broke loose with the breaker bar, you can kind of turn them with this, but then you can almost rotate. You could just rotate them out by hand, as long as it's not too seized up or anything. So basically I just broke them loose a little bit, and then I was able to just rotate this right here. That way I don't have to crank the ratchet back and forth, and it pulled the bolts out nice and smooth. Now the short one is that top one. The longer one goes on the bottom right side. And then these three for the tensioner are actually going to be the same. So once you get the alternator bolts broke loose, that one right there and that bottom one down there, there's only two. What you can do is push this whole alternator to the side, and that pops this 13 millimeter bolt out. Now it comes to the last tool. I used a wrench, and I actually had pushed it over before I even broke this bolt loose. So I had it pushed over. I put this 13 millimeter on there, popped it loose, and then once I had it loose enough, I could just thread it out by hand. So once you get to this point, You pull this bolt all the way out. Now I already had this out, I just kind of put it back in there to demonstrate for y'all. But you pull this bolt all the way out, and then you're gonna push this alternator back over, and you may have to mess with it for a minute, but this tensioner will turn sideways and pull out of there. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, 3 bolts are out. That one just popped right out. So we're still in the same position. We're gonna push this back over now that that came out. So we're gonna push it all the way. Now this is definitely a little bit difficult. The space you gotta shoot in between is, hold on. Let me get this light in a better spot. Okay, you're gonna have to shoot in between this chunk of metal and this pulley right here for the actual alternator. So you're gonna have to rotate this to where it goes right through there. You rotate and kind of just pry it down. You're gonna have to mess with it for a minute to get it to line up, but this thing turned just like this will slide out of there one way. It's real difficult with one hand, but I'll show you in just a second. Okay, with the help of 2 hands and a lot of finessing, I finally got this pulled out. You can see right here where it's a little bit thinner. That's where I was able to pull it out. So basically it's sitting in there at the start. You have to rotate it to like this, have it at that angle still, and pull it down and out from underneath there. And it'll slide right out. And all that for this little tensioner. But you can do it at home by yourself. Not that many requiring tools, a wrench, wherever that went. A 13mm socket. If you just have the ratchet, that'll be fine. But you are gonna need a medium and a small extension, a 16mm socket, a 13mm socket, and an E12. And then if you're working in a darker place like I am, just a garage, you're gonna need some lights, of course, but other than that, you can get it done by yourself. I haven't been able to find any videos. I hope this helps. And for the next one. Okay, here's the old one. I just slid the new one back in there. Again, rotate it to where this thin side is facing that metal in the pulley. Shove it in there at that angle, then rotate it back. Okay, we're going to push this alternator back over. Put in this hard to reach 13 first, and then we can rotate it back. Yeah, this one right here. Line it up to that bowl. Put the hard to reach 13 in there. Push it back. Put the other 2 13s in. And really you wouldn't be able to tighten them all down until you bolt the actual alternator back up. So we're gonna use those E-Torques and bolt them back up, and then cinch the rest of the 13mm bolts back up, and then just pop the belt back on. Everything in reverse order from here. I hope this helped. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.